Cass Hopetoun and Blake Dantier both released debut albums in 2022, Cass with Not Your Typical Bride and Blake with Dry Season, and both found themselves nominated for the Golden Guitar for New Talent of the Year this year. They have now released a song together, Some Things Never Get Old. I'm going to talk about that and also maybe that Golden Guitar nomination. Hello, Blake, and hello, Cass.
Hi.
Howdy.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to talk to you, and I spoke to you both around the releases of your albums, but I am going to start with those matching Golden Guitar nominations because I can't imagine many artists have found themselves up against their own spouse. How did it feel when you found out?
We were talking about it today, and I remember like watching the nomination announcement, and I was just so excited that Blake's name got called out that I'd forgot that my name could also be called out. It was just like a really nice like moment. I'm sure you didn't care. Were you like, me, yes.
me.
Yeah.
No, I figured we had more chances to win that way. I mean, what's
Yeah. 2 out of
hers
5.
is mine. What's mine is hers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like,
must be, but I mean, yeah, there's not really anyone you could call and say, oh, hey, what's it like to be up against the person you live with?
How do you deal with this? Yeah. Well, I thought like it was really nice to kind of get excited together, like dressed up together, like being nominated at like the awards themselves is really cool. And then obviously if we both lose, it's nice to console each other.
I know it's a very competitive category. And the other aspect of it is you usually both the people who are in New Talent of the Year often perform on the night. So it's not even like you get to just stroll up on the red carpet and relax. There's a lot of other stuff going on. There's rehearsal. So the few days before those Golden Guitars, I imagine, were pretty busy.
Yeah, we didn't perform this year. I think we had the off year. So
They like to shake it up. But Cass got to do it the year before
I was there. I saw Cass perform. That's why I just presumed.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked the year off for the time that I was.
Sorry.
But okay, whatever.
Well, then you did get to relax and enjoy it to an extent, I guess. But
once they had done that category, then I got to relax and enjoy it. Then it's like, cool. Now it doesn't matter how many beers I drink.
Yeah.
Apart from which, it was probably the year that was the most fully back, like post-pandemic. So I imagine it got pretty loose that evening.
Yeah, I think it did. I mean, I was, how many months was I? 6 months pregnant. After party. I went to the after party and then I was like, probably going to call it now.
I am carrying a small human. I need to lie down. Yes.
Yeah.
By that time, had you started thinking about recording together already, or did that give you an idea to?
I don't know if we even. I think it was before Soph was born, but not. I don't know. I think it was a very quick turnaround. We were like, we're going to do a duet now, but like at the Golden Guitars, I think it wasn't even in our heads yet.
We didn't know we were going to actually do it, but we knew that. Like people have been asking us for years, like, are you going to do one? And we're like, obviously they're planting the seed.
Yeah.
Maybe we will do one. And, so we always thought we would, but we had no idea when really. And then, we turned this song around really quickly. It was like, finished writing it at the start of this year.
Right.
And we're just like, let's just do it. This seems like the one to duet on. So I think we recorded it like a month and a bit later.
Yeah, right.
Now it's come out a month and a bit after that.
So when did the song actually come to life? What was the spark for it? And when you wrote it, did you intend it to be a song for the two of you?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I think this song, it's like it's always hard for me to track back like where it began and where it ended really, because this song went through 8 different versions.
Right.
So I think it started like maybe over a year ago that I started writing this song, and I think I had in mind that this could be a duet song.
Okay.
Mainly because I felt like it wasn't a me song that I would do on my own. And I don't know if it was a Cass song really either, but maybe it's both of us. So
yeah.
So when you say it went through 8 different versions, do you mean in the writing of it was like 8 editing rounds of it, or 8 versions once you got to the studio and you started tinkering with it?
Yeah, before we got to the studio. I love a good rewrite. So, even if the song seems like it's done, I'll just get it out and rewrite it because maybe there's something better. I don't know.
It's a frustrating time to write with Blake sometimes. So I'll be like, we've done it, we've made a great song. And then he's like, no, rewrite. It's like, oh, we spent like hours on this song.
They always get better.
They do. But I like to move
on. Well, I would like to know which version, in which version Pac-Man was introduced.
Yeah, that was pretty late in the game, actually. Actually, those first two lines, Blockbuster on a Friday, Pac-Man on a flip phone.
Yeah.
They might have been in like the last two versions, I think. But I had some pretty significant changes, and then I just thought, it was originally going to be Snake on a flip phone. You know that game Snake where you eat really little things and the snake gets longer, and if you accidentally run into yourself, you lose. Yeah, it just didn't sing as well as Pac-Man.
Pac-Man is quite evocative. So it sounds like when you're rewriting, it's a lyric editorial process more than a music editorial process.
Yeah, there's little tweaks in there. Like there used to be a guitar solo, but it was like, nah, we don't need that.
Yeah.
So, made that really short. But stuff like that I feel is chords are important, but I think they're more of a supporting role to lyrics personally.
Yeah. And Cass, for you as a songwriter, do you feel the same way that the lyrics are more important?
I think in country music, yes. I think like the lyrics and the story come first. Obviously you don't want to like a dodgy melody, but like I think like in the way that I write, it's usually an idea and like a bit of a lyric thing, and then music will come after that, unless I have just like a great catchy tune that I try and make something fit to it. But I think in country music, like lyrics and story are tops.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. Now, Blake, you produced this song with Simon Johnson.
10 out of 10.
Did it feel like there was more pressure on you than when you and Simon worked together on your album? Because of course Cass was on this song, so the stakes were a bit higher, maybe.
The stakes were on when Simon said, "Oh, let's do the vocals at the same time." So Cass was in the booth, and I was in the control room, and I was holding our baby.
Right.
And we were like, yeah, we could do it. And we didn't end up using those takes from my end because there was way too much heavy breathing and soft cooing in the background.
Very cute sounds, but yeah, not appropriate.
I think having a baby in the studio kind of put it to the test a little bit. Other than that, business as usual.
But that might have been a nice version for you to keep just for yourselves. So you had a record of that time.
Yeah, actually. We should have thought about that.
First feature track.
Yeah. Featuring Sophie.
Or you could do a different edit of it. It's the baby version.
Yeah.
Baby edit. I don't know. Like,
yeah. Just half breathing.
So did that mean so that was basically because you recorded those vocals together, that meant Cass had to do hers again as well, because it was you with the baby was making the noise, but that take couldn't be used all together.
Oh no, we still used hers because she was in a separate room.
Okay.
It was just mine. But it was so much easier to sing the song together because the duet. It was like when we tried doing it at first, just her doing her part and then me doing my part, it just didn't really work. So
it doesn't feel, I think like, because I've really done this before, like a duet, because I did a duet with Andrew Swift a couple of years ago, but he was in Melbourne, I was in Sydney, so it was like we never sung it together. But this, like, even though we didn't keep the take, we got to sing together at the same time, so you can feel the energy and like you're harmonizing in real time. So I think it was good that we did that, even though we didn't have to keep takes.
Yeah, we kept Cass's take. We just did mine again.
Yeah, mine was.
Well, Cass, I did have a question about you doing that song with Andrew Swift, because I was going to put you on the spot and say who was the better duet partner, but I think you've answered that. It was Blake.
I've been programmed. I have to say my husband. Like, this one.
Well, I was actually there, so that's good.
And he was the producer. So.
Yeah, producer, wrote the song together. Yeah, I think it's, like I said, very different like experiences, and very different songs. I think Say the Word was like very different to this one, even though both technically love songs. But yeah, I think there's something really nice about being all together. And like Blake, because we did other songs for his at this session, and he had a whole band in there live tracking, which was just something that I hadn't really experienced for music of my own. I thought that was awesome, because it's like better than like, oh, let's record drums. then let's record bass. Like it's just everyone together feeding off each other.
Yeah. So when you go to make your next album, that suggests that might be a direction you head in.
I would love that. I think it's, I mean, Matt Fell made it very difficult, my producer, because he just moved to Tasmania. So I don't really know what.
But you got to pay to fly everyone down to Tasmania.
Yeah.
Coming to stay.
Yes, I would love that. So I think that's how people do it over in Nashville and stuff. Like it's just, I don't think you can beat energy. And I think that's what a lot of like international tracks have, is they have that live energy. But it's a lot cheaper to not do that. So we'll see what the budget holds.
TBC. Now your albums, well, you as artists and your albums reflect this, have distinct musical identities. So yeah, there's nothing about your album, Cass, that sounds like it's Blake's album and vice versa. So I'm wondering, when it came to the music of this song, was there any argy-bargy about how it was going to sound?
Yeah.
Argy-bargy?
Well, no, it was a hard thing to do. Like we didn't fight over how it should sound, but it was sort of like,
we didn't know. I don't think anyone had like a strong opinion on what the end product was.
I just knew it shouldn't be like the trad kind of country sound that I do, because I don't think it would really suit what Cass has got going on, and vice versa. So it was like we knew it had to be something different to what either of us were currently doing, and I feel that's kind of what this song is. But I don't know, to be honest, I didn't put that much importance on it. It was just sort of like, I like this song could work.
I think we put a lot of trust into the players and the well, you were producing as well, but Simon, like that they would be able to create. I think we would have known at some points, like, I don't know if this is what I really saw in my head, because we didn't know what it would be like to blend them. And I think like after we sent the track off to get mixed by Matt Fell, then when it came back, I was like, yes, this was it. Like it was kind of like nearly there. And then once we kind of combined Matt with Simon, it was like, yes, I think we've done it.
So I kind of knew Simon was going to pull it in the direction of my album, and Matt was going to pull it in the direction.
Yeah.
So I thought, maybe that'll work.
Yeah, it was the perfect combination of people all round, because yes, I've heard work with you in the past. It was just great they were both available, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Matt was like, oh, I can do that. It was like the next week or something.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Okay.
We'll send it to Tasmania. Now, you mentioned that you have a young child, and she is very young, but I'm wondering if it's too early to notice any musical ability, or if it's starting to come through.
Yeah, I feel she likes when I sing to her, but I think that's a baby thing. But I'm going to pretend that that's some sort of musical. She like enjoys that. But yeah, I think Blake's trying to, I don't know, I feel like you're trying to get her to play an instrument already. You're like, look at this.
We're going to start with just hitting.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the easiest gateway into music. Just hit this thing, and now let's try and get it in time.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, because you were talking about singing together in the studio, do you sing together at home to her, perhaps?
I think, yes. I think we sing some pretty silly songs these days. Our songwriting has gone in a different direction.
She loves a song.
Yeah.
But, she doesn't like the same songs that we like. The songs that we would consider good songs, she doesn't care for them.
Yeah. She wants to hear like laugh time.
There's plenty of time to educate her, though, you know. Keep exposing her to the music you like. I'm sure it will work out. Now, Blake, I saw you playing with Duncan Toombs at the Sunset Bash in Penrith earlier this year. So you've obviously been doing some gigging around as well. Are you playing with some other people apart from Duncan?
Yeah. Did a gig did this Willandra camp draft a couple of months ago down Bawley Point, that's where it is, New South Wales South Coast, with Max Jackson. And we've been doing this thing at this bar in Sydney called Jolene's. I've been playing there like a lot. I feel like I'm there every week. They give us a feed and a beer, and we get to play 3 hours of country music, which is pretty cool. But we formed this thing there, which we're calling the house band, which is me and Dunk. Simon is playing bass, Simon Johnson, and Loz Benson's playing drums. And it's just this really fun, like just whatever, big jam kind of country songs sort of thing that we're doing every week. And I'm really loving it. I think playing has been my focus kind of since the album came out last year. I've just really been focusing on actually playing music and not so much on songwriting, but you know, whatever. I'm riding that wave and I'm loving it so far.
Well, and I suppose it may feed into songwriting as well. You know, the more you play, the more you're kind of opening up those musical channels in different directions, playing with different people, like Duncan, for example, or maybe not. Maybe I'm just speculating.
No, totally. And I think, you know, obviously people in Nashville, they'll go in, you know, 5 days a week and write songs. That's their job. But for me, it's like there's no demand to do that to that volume. So it's sort of like, if I don't feel like writing, I won't write. Yeah,
I feel like that's nice though. It's like, because the albums have come out, it's like you're not working towards that, so there's no pressure to write songs. So only if you want to write a song, you can write a song.
Yeah, at some point you have to kick yourself up the butt and say you need to write something now.
Well, I'm glad you told me who was in that house, but I haven't made it to Jolene's yet. But actually, I'm hoping to get to one of your gigs soon, because I had seen you on the list there. But it did say house band with golden guitar winners and nominees. I was thinking, who is in this band? And now you tell me. I think they should advertise that band membership so people know, or do they want to keep it mysterious?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea actually. Which you should take this in
it does seem a bit mysterious. I don't know.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that's going well. It looks like that bar is popular. And is it a country music crowd, or is it more of a city crowd? Because it is right in the heart of Sydney for people who don't know it.
Yeah, you kind of get both. It's like it's only been open a year, so it's like it's definitely word is getting around that it actually exists and that it's a place to see country music. But on like maybe Friday nights, you get more of the after work city crowd. But on Saturday nights, it's definitely people out there for country music.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now, Cass, when I found out you'd had a baby, I couldn't help but think of the song Parallel Lines from your album, which is a favorite of mine. I play it regularly. But it has quite a different perspective on becoming a parent than you seem to have. So now I'm thinking, did you write that at a certain point in your life, or not even write it about yourself at all?
Yes, it was like I guess it was written not that long ago, but like based around a time that was a while ago. That makes sense. I don't know, that was a long-winded answer. So it's like the song, if anyone that doesn't know it, it's like it's about not being ready to have a baby, and it's about getting a positive pregnancy test and then being like, I'm not ready for that. But and it was, I think that was a really strong memory of like thinking that I might be, and it's like I'm not feeling ready right now, compared to like, obviously like Soph was a planned baby, everyone, it's okay. But she, like, it's a very different time in my life now. But it is funny that song didn't come out that long ago, and I was like, oh, hope that's out and happening before we announce that we're pregnant. Everyone's gonna have questions.
Well, and I did think it was from a time in the past, but yeah, it's a great song. And I saw you play it live when you did an album launch show in Sydney, and it was the way you performed it, you could see what it meant as well. So I don't know if you've had many chances to perform it or any feedback from people, but yeah, comment more than a question.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorites too. If not our favorite. So.
I really love it. And I found it funny. I had a friend of mine who was like, I love that song. And then I was like, talking about how it's like a little bit jarring because it's about like a pregnancy test for some people. And she was like, I didn't even see it as that. I see it as like she had this own interpretation of the song, like not about being pregnant at all. It was about like taking this step in life. Like, are you ready to do it or not? And like, I was just reminded that because it's funny because it's my song. I know exactly what it's about. But to her, she's like, no, it can be interpreted this way. So that was cool for me because like, I guess it's hard for me to like separate what the song was based on because it's a personal experience.
Well, and initially I actually didn't pick up the pregnancy test angle. I thought you were writing about, parallel decisions in life. Like you could have run your life along parallel lines if you made different decisions at different times.
Which is like, it's funny when you have a song out and you're like, man, I was smarter than I thought. Or like people think I'm smarter than I thought.
That's one of the other ones we've co-written. We wrote that one with Phil Barton on Zoom. He was in Nashville. That must have been his input. We're not that clever.
Yeah. I think it shows the value of being specific because then people can find themselves in your experience. To bring it back to the current song, specific about Pac-Man, that's a really, people can connect to that, or at least they've heard of that, or, Blockbuster on a Friday night, all those things, having those details. I think it's a hallmark of country music, but you have to be thoughtful as a songwriter to put them in, because the impulse may be to go more universal, thinking that will connect with more people, but it rarely does.
Oh, totally. I think like someone, everyone knows Taylor Swift is like very particular. And sometimes it's a song you're like, this is like, I don't know, I can't really relate to this, but it's like good because it doesn't matter. It's like if you like what she's singing about, it's like you can put yourself in that world.
Even if we've never had those experiences, we can understand what it is like to have had those experiences.
Do you feel, this is a question for both of you as songwriters, that do you feel any hesitancy sometimes to put some of yourself, or what you may consider too much of yourself, in a song, because it does feel like you're exposing too much of your life to other people?
I think I do. I'm newer to writing than Blake, and I think because me bringing out an album was like, this is like a lot of the first writing I'd ever done, and it was like being shown to the world. So I don't think I was really ready to delve too deep. I think Parallel Lines is probably the most personal I get on that whole album. But I'm trying like these days to just write songs and not think about like, are people going to hear it? It's like just write the song and then decide later, because I think they're the songs that people like connect to the most, which is funny. Like Parallel Lines, like a lot of people love that the most. So I think it's something I'm trying to work on, to just put those songs out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a really hard thing, actually. And I struggle with it all the time, like writing something or being like, should I write that, or just not writing it because I'm like, no, I don't want to put that out there. Which, like, there's different ways you can write. Some people write really personal songs about things that happen in their life, and other people don't. They just write songs about things that happen. Like someone that's really big for me is Alan Jackson, and he's had some songs that are, clearly from his personal life, but a lot of stuff is just, this happened. Like Don't Rock the Jukebox. It's just about he's feeling down and he's in a bar. It's like, it's just something that happened. It's not deeply personal, and I kind of tend to go that route because I don't like to write those like really personal songs, because I find it hard. But there's also, like, as an artist, I think
you have to.
Yeah, the point of artists is for them to write those songs, because there's other people that wouldn't write those songs. If everyone was a songwriter, and the me's out there are too afraid to write those songs, then if someone else does it and puts it out, it gives other people, a way to relate to that feeling or emotion that's in that song. Something that they couldn't express themselves because someone else had the courage to do it.
Yeah, I do think it is more confronting for performers, though, because eventually you're going to be right in front of your audience, and you're going to be telling that story to them. So it's all very well to write the lyrics. If you're never seeing anyone, you can just release them or publish a poem or whatever it is, and think, okay, well, it's just out there. But yeah, I do think it is a big consideration for performers. It's like, oh, you're sitting right in the front row. This is about me. What are you going to think? Yeah.
Or even like, you're writing about something and someone, like your friends will hear it and you're like, oh, it's written like,
they know it's
so, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like having the courage to just give that part of yourself away, that it's not just yours anymore, that you've given this to everyone for their judgment, for their amusement, enjoyment, entertainment, whatever.
Yeah. And I think eventually it does land the way you intended. At least, my experience as a listener and having talked to quite a few artists, it seems that yes, when you, as you say, Blake, have the courage to do that, it does tend to be received by the audience in the way you expect and hope and intend.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah.
Again, comment more than a question. I do have a question about the song "Some Things Never Get Old." I imagine that at some point you will be working towards your own albums individually. Are you going to fight over who gets this song, or will it just go on to both albums, or will it not? Is it just going to exist in and of itself?
We haven't talked about it. I feel at the moment it's its own thing. So it's like it's its own thing unless we decided to do more duets, then that would all go together. But I think because it's such a specific sound, it's like, I don't know if it would fit on either album, depending on what's even happening. I think that's a future problem.
We in that Cass mentioned earlier that we did some other songs of mine in the same session that we did some things, and the way I look at those songs is sort of, they seem like they could have been on my album, but I just had written them kind of around the time that the album was coming out, so they were obviously couldn't be on it. But they don't feel like they're part of a new album either. I mean, obviously they could be, but I kind of just feel like this is just some other period of songs that's happening, and I couldn't like not record them. Like I had to record them because I was like, I've got these songs, I want to put them out there, you know. And so I think, you know, whatever happens with these next batch of songs, I don't even know if then when there's an album after that, if those songs will even be on it. It's just sort of like
standalone,
really just flying by the seat of our pants at the moment, just like, let's put music out, like who cares, you know.
Well, yeah, I think, I don't know, you can get too caught up in this cycle, or when I'm going to bring my singles out, do my album, and like at this point it's like, let's just do what we want to do and bring it out, like people like it, but maybe they won't, I don't know.
And I suppose, look, in the age of streaming, some of that's been liberating in that there is a platform there just to put out songs and not necessarily have to tie them into any EP or album release.
Yeah, it is a double-edged sword though, in that now you're kind of expected to just consistently release, and there's no end point.
No acknowledgement that artists actually need a bit of downtime as well to get new ideas, for example. Well, the song is the song is Some Things Never Get Old. I don't think the song will get old anytime soon. It's a lovely song, and you have a lovely, very uplifting video to go with it, which I will post with this. So Cass Hopetoun, Blake, where did I do that? Cass Hopetoun, Blake Dantier, lovely to speak to you both, and I hope to hear more new music soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Chatting with us.